What a team.
Hi, good
Okay.
evening. This is the August 14th, 2025 meeting of the Needham Conservation Commission. I'm Dave Harrow, the Conservation Commission Chair. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded for later viewing and administrative purposes and will be available on the town's YouTube channel. Before we get started, I want to confirm the presence of members and staff. When I call your name, please respond. Sue, she's out, maybe in late. Clary, not here. Reed,
Here.
Bill is out. Fred,
Here.
Storm warning.
Paulina,
Here.
Deb,
Here.
Tim.
Here.
Ooh.
All,
Yep.
all supporting materials have been provided to the commission members and are available on the commission website. Here's a few ground rules for our meeting. I'll open each hearing on the agenda and introduce the applicant and or their consultant to begin their project presentation. After conclusion of the applicant's presentation, I'll call on the staff and then the commission members to provide their comments or questions. Please raise your hand or wait until your name is called. After comments or questions from staff and commission, I will solicit comments from the public. Please raise your hand if you wish to comment. Please wait until the chair yields the floor to you. State your name before speaking and mute your phone or computer when not speaking. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Okay, let's go to the agenda. Do we have any minutes?
Yes, Sue did send in her revisions and Kristen, did give us a final draft. So those are from 7/24/25.
Okay, any comment? If not, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of 7/24/25?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Paulina,
Aye.
Fred,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
the chair votes aye. Okay. Deb, do we have any enforcement or violation updates?
So I did reach out to Bell Lane, 27 Bell Lane, because that has been going on for over a year. So if you recall, they did give us a restoration plan over a month ago. The commission wanted a more robust plan, and I hadn't heard anything. So I did reach out to them today. Paul McManus, I got the storm now. Paul McManus did send over a new plan a couple hours ago that I haven't looked at. So I did invite them to our next meeting to go over what they are now proposing.
Good. I like the letter that you sent them.
Oh, was it mean?
No,
It
no.
was firm.
No,
It was firm.
I thought it was appropriately firm.
Okay, good.
Yeah. no,
And
I
we got
thought-
a result. We did get a new plan within a half an hour, so.
Yeah, I thought it was a good letter.
Okay. So that's all I have for enforcements.
All right, moving along, let's open the hearing for 64 Winfield Street. They don't have a EP file number yet. Who is here to discuss that? Nicole?
Yes, my name is Nicole Hayes. I'm a professional wetland scientist with Goddard Consulting. Good evening.
Welcome.
So we're before you tonight with a notice of intent for work within previously developed riverfront area, and I'd like to share my screen.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So this is the site. It is 64 Winfield Street. It currently is a single family home with a driveway, maintained lawn. The Barry Price Center Rehabilitation Center owns this property for disabled adults. The resources on the site consist of riverfront area of Rosemary Brook. There is no bordering vegetated wetland associated with the brook or a jurisdictional FEMA floodplain. So that's the existing conditions. Here we have the river front. The river is approximately right here, and then the 100-foot riverfront area and the 200 riverfront area. So most of this site is within the riverfront area. The proposed conditions, which is on this slide, will be a portion of an addition within the 100-foot riverfront area, and this portion right here within the 100 to 200-foot riverfront area. Also, a proposed patio. Now, the proposed addition is going to be a ground level addition for the disabled adults, since, you know, a second floor addition is not applicable in this instance. And the proposed impacts to riverfront area is 764 square feet. So to mitigate for that 764 square feet, we're proposing this planting area right here, which is 1,580 square feet, which is a greater than 2-to-1 mitigation ratio. We are also proposing stormwater mitigation, as there'll be a proposed on-site leaching system, which will captivate the new roof runoff and the roof runoff of some of the existing building. There will be no need for grade changes, and we also have the restoration area planting schedule. I could go over that, or we also have Deborah, who is our architect on the project. She is also here with us, and she can go over that and answer any questions about the planting plan if you have any. So with that, I will open it up to questions.
Okay, thank you. Deb or Tim, do you have any? comments?
Yeah, I just actually noticing now. So, since there's no BBW, then your 100-foot riverfront line should also be the 100-foot buffer to bank.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you might want to update the plan to clarify that.
Okay.
I did meet on site with Deb Crossley, and I think she has put together a nice mitigation planting plan, and it does meet the 2-to-1 requirements, so I don't have any issues with that. So that's all that I have.
Okay. Any of the commissioners have questions or comments? No? Okay. Only comment I have is the application requirements for the stormwater system is incomplete. And I think I know you indicated in the paperwork that that would be submitted to the town, but it has to be submitted to the Conservation Commission. If you go to our regulations, attachment C, it lays out the requirements for information to be included in the notice of intent application. And also noted that, you know, as the impervious area is less than 4,000 square feet, you do not need a professional engineer to stamp your design. So with that being said, we're not in a position to move forward on the notice of intent, so I suggest we move this application to our next meeting.
So there is someone has their hand raised.
Yeah, and I'm just stating that, you know, hopefully.
Okay, sorry.
Hopefully you would get the required information in at least a few days before our next meeting, which is, the 28th. So there's any other questions from the commissioners? Go to the public, see if there's any questions there.
I'm not a commissioner, but I would have a question for you, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
So when you say the application was not complete, are you referring to the fact that we only had our test pit done yesterday and submitted the soils analysis today, that the civil engineer only did that today? Or are you, I saw there were a flurry of emails this afternoon. I was actually at another site visit. So is there more than that is required for your review?
Yes.
Okay,
If you read the regulations or in the attachment, see, there's like 5 items.
okay,
And the test pit information you provided would partially satisfy one of the items.
okay. So I read the bylaw, because I'm the architect, not the civil engineer. And I do know that, well, we have been asking the civil engineer to assert that a system can be designed for the entirety of the runoff created by the addition and the patio, plus the roof to which it attaches, is how I read the law, given how much area we are proposing.
Right, that's correct.
Okay, so, and he has asserted that he can do that. So I assume I just have to read that lengthy email that I saw come in late this afternoon to understand what else he is required to do.
Right. And also, feel free to, call Deb or Tim or myself if you have any questions.
I will, and Deborah, or I see as you put your name here, Debbie Anderson has been very helpful in advising. I like to know everything that the sub-consultants are required to do, just because, so I'm going to ask you, is it possible to get a sense of the meeting, assuming you would get all the required information? Before the next meeting, and if I may, I'll say why. I still have some work to do on the phase 2, which is the addition. So we're submitting for permits at the end of the month for phase 1, which is just renovations of the existing property. And the population that's moving in here is a sensitive one, and we're trying to move things forward. And I'm trying to help the Berry Price Center move things forward as expeditiously as possible.
Right, we get that. I would open it up to the commissioners if they have any further questions, but my assumption is, because we had no questions, that the commissioners generally feel comfortable. Speaking for myself, I would only like to see the information on the stormwater design, and I don't have any further questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So is there somebody in the public that wishes to comment?
Yes, we have someone named JP, and I'm going to bring them over now. Okay, JP, you can unmute and speak.
There we go. I live next door at 12 Border Road, and I'm just curious. We've had some high water issues in our basement coming up through the ground, and curious as to the changes that they're going to make, if it might increase the possibility of me getting water in my basement once again.
Somebody from the applicant want to address that?
I can speak to that. According to the law, we are not allowed to dispose of runoff on adjacent parcels, and the stormwater management will be captured for the site, and it will not negatively impact adjacent properties.
May
The-
I add to that?
Yeah,
I understand your concern and sometimes when we talk about this stuff in a meeting like this, it's a bit technical. The truth is, because we're required to capture and retain all of the runoff from the addition and a large portion of the existing building, the conditions going forward will be improved over the conditions currently. We're required to do more than capture, in other words, more than capture runoff from the patio and addition that we're putting in.
okay, so when those containers, cisterns, whatever you call them, contain the water, they do drain into the soil eventually, correct?
It's called recharge, so all rainwater is absorbed or runs off from the existing ground, whatever that is. Our soils analysis already shows us that we have sandy soils and gravel to a great depth, so we're quite confident that we can capture the water in a major storm called a 1% or 100-year storm, and that it will leach through the ground at a slow, percolate through the ground at a lower level at a pretty slow rate, which is a natural way of recharging the groundwater.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation.
Okay, thank you. Fred, you had your hand up for,
Yes, I guess, I wondered, are there any trees on this property and the adjoining properties? I couldn't tell how much tree cover there is. And yeah, it looks like the ones on both sides of the property and being worked on, as well as this property, are fairly low on tree cover. I mean, Dave, you've talked about how I don't know whether this is an area that was marshland at one point and it was filled, or but it's it's a tricky thing trying to manage, and we have more extreme rainfalls lately. I know the new stormwater regulations that are being discussed are going to ask for people to plant trees. And it's not going to solve the problem, but it certainly could help in some cases. So I would just throw that out there as something for everyone in the neighborhood to think about.
okay, any other comments? If not, could I have a motion to move this hearing, or I forget the right word.
Continue.
Continue, thank you.
Mhm.
Senior moment here, to continue the hearing until our next meeting, August 28th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Fred,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Alina,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is 0 Locust Lane request for a determination of applicability. This is at the Guernsey Sanctuary, which abuts Sabrina Lake. And we have Michael from the Wellesley Land Trust here. Welcome.
Actually, I'm Bill Giesentanner representing the
Oh,
Land Trust.
yeah, we met. I'm sorry. Bill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all right.
yeah. So I know you have a brief presentation.
Yeah, can I share my screen?
Please.
This is all new to me, so I'm not sure I knew even how to do that. There.
A housekeeping question. Did you guys notify the abutters of this project?
So, no, not yet. I left on vacation just after we submitted this, and I left a lot of things, a lot of Ts uncrossed and Is undotted. So, yeah, I haven't done that.
Okay, so the commission will have to decide. So under our bylaw regulations, you're required to notify abutters for a request for determination.
Yeah.
Under the state, you do not need to. So it's up to the commission if you request a waiver from having to notify the abutters, because they can't go forward with this hearing unless that is decided before you present.
I realize that. So I'm here to answer questions, and we'll move the ball along with the details that need to be handled.
Does someone else want to broach this further, or Dave?
As far as requests for determination of applicability and notifying the abutters, I've been out to the site. I've met with Bill, and Andrea as well. I don't think there's many abutters. I know Andrea's an abutter, but I don't think there's a lot of abutters out there. So I would have no problem waiving that requirement, but you know, I don't know about the rest of the commission members.
Is that gonna be a legal issue? Does anyone know? I don't know.
No, it won't, because we
Yeah.
have an out that they can request a waiver for this
Mhm.
specifically.
And that would be if compliance would result in economic hardship greater than the magnitude of the public interest served.
Yeah, so I don't think that would be the case here.
Because the question is the public, you know, you were debating what is the level of the public interest being served through the abutter notifications.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I could say that, you know, having been out at the site, this is a dangerous situation. And also is intrusive on the wetlands, and the Wellesley Land Trust is proposing to do some improvements that would improve the safety issue and also reduce the fill and you know, make this project a lot safer, a lot better for the environment that it's in. So I can't see that there would be any negative impact to any abutter here.
Yeah, but it might be a matter of the butters might want to hear what's happening on this property and may have some input on or suggestions. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if the commission doesn't want to waive the requirement, then, you know, we'll have to wait until the abutters are notified. You know, that's perfectly, you know, acceptable path.
do you want to put it to a vote?
Well, I
Maybe.
mean, Reed, got your hand up?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to sort of at least have a chance to express my opinion as to whether, you know, this is appropriate for a determination of applicability, because I mean, I don't think that there's an exemption that applies to this. So I do think there would need to be an order of conditions that would, a notice of intent that needs to be filed, but I don't want to wait until our next meeting though to figure that out.
I'm just not sure if we were allowed to start a meeting. If the abutters need to be notified and they weren't, we technically, I think, cannot. If we don't waive it, we technically can't
Right.
hear it.
Okay.
So I think that's where it is, Reed, is like,
Yeah,
I
no,
understand where
understood.
you're going,
Maybe,
but
maybe we shouldn't vote on it, but I think we should at least have a discussion.
Yeah, well, I
I mean,
think,
I don't know if we're allowed to.
yeah.
Can we? People weren't notified.
Yeah, I think that there's two issues. One is a butter notification. And secondly, whether an NOI is required or a determination of applicability is required. So as far as the first item, why don't we continue this request until the abutters are notified? Number one, as far as the request for determination of applicability, my opinion is that this would fall under the requirements. Just a few meetings ago, we approved something very similar at Cutler Park, which was much greater in scope. And we approved, we issued a negative determination of applicability for that. So we could discuss that in more detail at our next meeting, if you want.
Okay.
All right, so is that, are you okay with that, Bill?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we'll hopefully bring this up at our next meeting.
If
on
you
August-
didn't get the abutters list yet, I had emailed Elisa Lichman's contact, who will help you do that in my office. So I would reach out to her tomorrow and ask her to request that certified abutters list for you, if you
Okay.
haven't done that yet.
And the regulation that you're citing as your exemption, that requires there to be an order of conditions. That's not an exemption.
No, but in my opinion, the commission has the authority to,
Yeah, no, understood. I just wanted to sort of, that if you read that regulation that they're citing, is there a reason for exemption?
exemption for what?
From the requirement to file a notice of intent?
I don't think there's an absolute requirement of filing notice of intent. I think that they have an ability to ask for a determination of applicability, and the commission then would look at the circumstances of the project.
Yeah, I'm just saying this regulation is being cited. That's not an exemption.
Well, maybe Bill, you could go back and take
Yeah.
a closer look at that.
My understanding is that this provision does allow catwalks and boardwalks like what we're proposing. It's just my understanding.
All right, that's something we gotta take a closer look at. But my understanding is that there's an exemption for work in a buffer zone for a public path up to 3 feet wide, provided that there is no alteration. In other words, digging or whatever in the wetland. That does not apply to, excuse me, there's no alteration of the buffer zone. I don't believe that applies to a wetland area, and I believe this is a wetland area. However, because you are not actually going to do any digging or physical manipulation of the soil or whatever, you're actually
Well, it
removing-
will be when they remove those wafers, there's holes under them.
Right, but I don't think they're proposing to do anything with the, other than dispose of the wafers. I don't think they're proposing any kind of excavation or anything.
I think we're technically not supposed to discuss this project until all the butters
You're
are
right,
notified.
Paulina. Thank you.
I don't mean
Right.
to interrupt. I'm just
No,
trying
no,
not
you're-
to get us in trouble
No,
here.
You're right, you're
So
right,
I
sorry.
don't think we can even talk about that, Dave, or
All right, that's fine. So let's, we'll do a little research and hopefully, at our next meeting, we can address any outstanding questions. Is that okay? Okay. Thanks, Phil. All right, next item on the agenda is 28 Robinwood Avenue, DEP file 234-947, which is a request for a certificate of compliance. And we have John Rockwood.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Okay. We were before the commission earlier this year. We received an order of conditions. They did all the work and the site is stable. We provided all the necessary documents relative to the COC request. And I believe Deb's gone out to the site and she can speak to that.
Yes, Tim and I went out on Tuesday, I believe it was, and the project looks really nice. The plantings look healthy, and we didn't find any issues with it. Was a nice job.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments? No? All right, then can I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance to 28 Robinwood Avenue, DEP file 234-947?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, let's vote. Reed,
Aye.
Paulina,
Aye.
Fred,
aye.
and the chair votes aye. All right,
Thank
Thank you,
you.
John.
When that's ready, can you contact Chris Porter and he will pick it up?
I will. Thanks, John.
Yep, thank you very much.
okay. Next item is the wetlands bylaw. We had discussed that last week, our last meeting about, adding the riverfront area as a resource area that would be covered under the wetlands bylaw. Acknowledging the fact that the state bylaw, covers most of the requirements for the riverfront area. Our concern was that the Needham bylaw does not specifically refer to the wetland riverfront area, and therefore any of the regulations that we had promulgated that go beyond the state regulations, for example, tree replacement, really would not be applicable in the outer riparian area. And so proposed a simple change to the bylaw to effectuate that. And
So, Tim and I have taken a crack at it. Tim mostly. There were some other issues with that first paragraph, with the jurisdiction. And we also had talked about, how they has the requirement to notify the other departments
right,
that I
right.
think we were hoping to get rid of. I don't know, Sue had requested that I drop off a copy of the bylaw, so I don't know if she had any comments. I didn't hear anything from her. But
I
if you'd
can
like to,
share my screen and
yeah, Tim can go over kind of what we came up with for a draft, at least for that first paragraph.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, I'd point out that the select board just opened up the town meeting warrant
Mm-hmm.
for the October meeting.
Yep.
And I think the window closes fairly quickly. And so if we want to try to do this at the fall town meeting, we need to act quickly. Otherwise, it could wait till the spring town meeting. Personally,
I
I
can
don't,
reach out to Sue.
yeah, I don't think there's
Maybe.
there's a critical time requirement here, but, I think it would be good if we could get it in to
Mm-hmm.
fall town meeting. Okay,
Yep. Go ahead, Tim.
all right, yeah. So that first part, or second, technically the jurisdiction section, for the most part, I just sort of reorganized it into resource areas, buffer zone, and riverfront area. with the parts in red really being the only additions that, actually one other addition is, collectively the buffer zones sort of named right there. Maybe I can make that red, but primarily it's those bolded areas that were the changes. Number 3 right there, within 200 feet of any water body which meets the definition of a river under the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act is riverfront area. And in that case, riverfront area, no person shall remove, fill, dredge, build upon, or alter the following except permitted by the Conservation Commission. And so that was sort of as we were discussing last hearing, as well as adding vernal pool into resource area and buffer zone there, because it implicitly is there, but in case it ever comes up, it's good to have it explicitly there.
Yeah, sounds good. I will note that later on in the bylaw, it references all the definitions that are in the Wetlands Protection Act. So that's kind of built into the bylaw.
Yeah, but any comments or
Yeah.
questions or ideas
I don't think
on
you
this?
need to define terms buffer zone or riverfront area, since those aren't actually used anywhere else. I don't think you need to include that.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Just where it says collectively buffer zones.
Yeah, I only added that because the other one had collectively resource areas.
Yeah, but that's
And,
just the term
you know-
resource area is used elsewhere in the bylaw.
Okay.
Well, what I was getting at was that all these terms are already referenced in the Wetlands Protection Act is already referenced. So there's not really a need to repeat definitions.
No, I think it'll be good to have the vernal pool stick out because WPA doesn't protect vernal pools specifically. So it might be a good idea to have the vernal pool in there in the definite that we consider it a resource area and that vernal pools receive 100-foot buffer.
No, I agree with that, but I just mean that vernal pool isn't a vernal pool defined in the
As an isolated wetland not protected under.
I see.
So it would be considered as a wetland, but in case it ever comes up and someone wants to make an argument.
It's only protected if it's within another resource area.
Right, so I think it'll be good to have, let me just check our bylaws, but don't we have a definition for vernal pools?
In your
In
regulations.
our
you do.
regulations,
Thanks,
but
John.
not in the bylaw.
John knows
Yep,
our
there we
regulations
go.
better than us.
Yeah, vernal pool was never a resource area under the bylaw or your bylaw regulations before. They were protected relative to the buffer zone
Mhm.
provisions. The vernal pool wasn't described as a resource area, and it doesn't have its own section in the regulations.
Okay.
So you're going to have to draft a section of regulations relative to
Yeah,
vernal
we
pool
have
and its
some other
performance
tweaks we're gonna have
standards.
to make to the regulations anyways.
Yeah, I
so.
think then it would be a good idea to have something that we say that we
And we
protect vernal
can-
pools, certified
And we
and
can also make a
potential.
no disturb area around the vernal pool.
Well, that sort of happens with the buffer zone performance standards anyways under your bylaw regulations. What
Mhm.
I'd suggest is, this is fairly common language in a lot of bylaws. Perhaps you look at a few other bylaws and you can come up with shorter words that
Yeah,
mean the
this
same
is
thing.
I went through the bylaws of all the municipalities in our area through MACC to come up with these words.
Okay.
All right. So,
And it really only added that last riverfront section. Everything else was in there, and the word vernal pool added.
All right, well, it doesn't sound like we're ready to vote on this tonight, so I guess we'll have to
yeah,
hold
I
off.
mean, I agree with you, Deb, that, once this gets finalized, and if it's approved by the town meeting, we can then go back and look at the regulations and make whatever tweaks are necessary.
Yeah, because once the stormwater goes through, it's gonna go up to 1.5 inches from an inch, and
Yep.
so we're gonna have to revise it anyways.
So Tim, you had another section you had? Oh,
The other section I didn't have sort of edits into it. It would have been section 6.6 coordination with other boards,
right,
and it's just one hefty paragraph, and that is a section of our bylaw that here, I can stop sharing. That as far as I could tell, historically has not been enforced. That we've requested all filings for yeah, a NOI or an RDA needs to also have return receipt certified mail to the select board, planning board, board of health, and building inspector.
all right, so
Yeah,
I guess we could, we'll have to review this again at our next meeting. And Deb, you're gonna find out what the timeline is for the,
Yeah,
for the warrant closing. And I also should suggest that we, when we get a final draft, have, Chris Heath take a quick look at it as well.
okay. Sounds good.
All right,
I'm sorry,
we're-
I think I might have missed the question. Tim, did you say that we required a return receipt from all,
all NOIs and
Departments.
RDAs need to show us proof by certified mail or stamped hand delivery that they have notified not just abutters, but also the planning board, select board, board of health, and building inspector, and sign an affidavit that they have provided such a notice to all of those boards.
and this is,
Uh,
and what are you proposing with that? I'm
That we
sorry.
get rid of it
we
because the
remove
other
it.
boards
That
don't
is
want to get a
currently
copy
our
of it.
bylaw.
yeah, because
And the other boards are in
Um,
favor of that, Debbie or Tim?
Well,
Yes, I would say that that is true. Most of them don't look at it, and we also have, we circulate our agenda, so anyone in any other boards that are interested in it, can request, that we give them an electronic copy.
in our new regulations require the applicants to clear their issues with the other boards before they come to us. For instance, if they're looking for a zoning change or if they have to go to the zoning board of appeals or whatever, we're asking them to do that first.
Yeah. But we can talk about it. I talked to planning. They're not interested in a copy. Building's not interested in it. I can reach out to the other boards to double check before we make that, but
Okay, thank you.
sure.
I mean, it makes sense for me if they're not interested in not reading it anyway,
Yeah.
but
All right, good. So we'll take that up at our next meeting. Anybody have any other items? I got a couple things that are not on the agenda. Just came up. One item is, I have just been reappointed to the Conservation Commission. And so I'm currently the chair, and I'm happy to continue on as the chair. I don't know if I have to be renominated for that, but I'm also on the Community Preservation Committee, and I've been informed that if I am going to stay on the committee, I need to have the commission reappoint me to the Community Preservation Committee. So I would like,
I'll vote for you to be reappointed to the commission, committee, conservation, no, I'm sorry. Tell me what,
APC.
APC.
The Community Preservation Committee.
Yes, the Preservation Committee. I nominate you to be appointed there.
Okay,
Second
I second
nomination.
that.
okay, great. Appreciate it.
Yay, all in favor.
That was easy.
Aye.
All right, everybody's in
Nice.
favor? That's great. Okay, the final item is, wanted to provide an update on our trails project. I have been meeting with Deb and Tim past couple weeks, and Tim's getting up to speed on the project, and he's gonna be providing our trail coordination and leadership moving forward. We had a meeting on Monday with the Park and Rec Committee, and we had a good meeting, and so I have a short presentation that I can show you guys with regard to where we're at, if you want to spend the time there, but I'll leave that up to you. Yeah,
I'm happy to see it. I don't know how people
Yeah.
feel.
okay. Shouldn't take too long.
So essentially, we need to be in contact with all of the town entities that own property that have trails on it. So we need to get a buy-in from the school committee, the select board, Conservation Commission, Park and Rec, because they all own different parcels. So this is kind of our presentation to the Conservation Commission to make sure that
Yeah.
they're on board with the project.
All right, can
We're
you,
getting the Trails Advisory Group back together.
Yes.
so can you see my screen?
No, we cannot.
Okay, well,
Oop, something's, yep, we can see it now.
okay, that's me running on the trail. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, a few items we want to discuss. Let's see here. And then at the end, we could talk about this Trails Committee, and we want to have one or two members of the commission on the committee. We've taken a look at the Ridge Hill map. That's the main property that's controlled by the Conservation Commission. We're proposing to make a few changes to simplify the trail system. We're not proposing to delete any trails, but just to try to make it a little simpler and create some loops. And also highlight the Esker Trail. The Esker Trail shown here in brown goes pretty much north-south on the east side of Ridge Hill. And then there's a collection of trails that go north-south on the west side. And so this proposal would try to make one trail go from the parking area, go from east to west, rather than like 3 or 4 trails. Make it simple. And then down, south of Charles River Street, kind of make a loop shown here in red of the what we're calling the Charles River Trail. I'm listing here the changes that we're proposing on the trails, and I won't go through those. But there are a number of changes. A lot of changes would be just to make some of these smaller spur trails unnamed rather than keeping them with a color, because there's too many colors, I think. And then there's still a little more work to do on the trails. We looked at the kiosks. There's 3 kiosks at Ridge Hill. They seem to be in pretty good shape, so we had proposed to replace, I think, one of them before, but now I think, it might be more cost effective just to refurbish the kiosks rather than replace them. the refurbished kiosk would have a larger map on it, you know, no plexiglass to get in the way, and would have. This is an example from the Charles River Peninsula, but you know, we just have a big map, and we could put any other information we wanted on the map as well. On some of the trail intersections, we're talking about putting a QR code for a map. The Needham GIS manager has a good idea for having a dynamic map, the app of which would be located on the town website. And so if you scan this for this map, you would get a map showing exactly where you are, just like Google Maps or whatever. And you wouldn't have to have an app on your phone, because the app would be located on the town website. So, because there must be a dozen different mapping apps that different people use, but this gets around that problem. I think I've already shown you, you know, some of the examples of the trail signs, so that would be on the various signposts. Here we're looking at some different colors. This here in the top left is sort of what the trustees and reservations use. A couple of variations on that. These three use the Town of Needham logo colors, which some people like. And, you know, the basic requirement is that the signs have a good contrast between the text and the background. So I think like of the Needham logo colors, this one I think gives the best contrast. And the same would go for trailheads. Here's a couple of examples. Trailheads. Still need to figure out what logo to use. But again, this is the town colors. There will be a need for some miscellaneous signs. I know at Ridge Hill, we're not allowing bicycles, and so that symbol might be used on some of the trailhead signs. Whereas at Town Forest, there are some bike trails, which we're not proposing to map out, but we might put in some signs like this on either side of the trail, just to indicate that it's not a hiking trail, but a bike trail. Then the other thing that we hope to improve is entrance sign, both at Ridge Hill and at the Town Forest. There's a couple examples. I kind of like this one, which is, you know, doesn't cost a lot, really stands out. You get different colors, different text styles, whatever. Then there's various trail improvements that need to be made. We've already completed 2 major improvements over the past year or so. A new bridge over a intermittent stream on the north end of the pond, or excuse me, of the Esker Trail. And then we put in some steps from the Esker Trail leading down to the boardwalk. But there's a few other places that could use some bog walks. There's a few parts of the boardwalk that need repair. There is definitely a need for trail brushing at various spots in the trail system. And then we have some ideas for interpretive signs. As an example of 2 kinds of bog walks that we can use. It's an example of some interpretive signs. Ridge Hill, I think, you know, has a fascinating history, and so, you know, a panel showing the history of Ridge Hill would be interesting. A panel explaining what an esker is. A lot of people have asked that question. Then we got meadow ecology and vernal pool ecology. I'm not sure there's a lot of vernal pools at Ridge Hill. I know there's maybe one or two. At the town forest, there's 6 of them. And a couple are close to the trails. So that's something we need to work on. So Tim and Deb are currently trying to reestablish the Trails Committee. We need to appoint some members from the Conservation Commission. We talked to the Park and Rec group about the approval process for trail modifications, and they basically indicated it would be okay just to review the modifications with Tracy or Stacy, I'm sorry.
And who is Stacy?
She is the director of Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
This is Stacy, right? Deb?
Yes.
Yeah, and so, I would think, with the Conservation Commission, we could, look to Tim to, approve any trail modifications at Ridge Hill. So that's what we have in mind. And so to the question of members from the commission onto the advisory committee, I'd like to nominate Fred to be one of the members, as Fred has, shown some interest in the trails, and he and I have actually walked a lot of the trails at Ridge Hill. Fred has also volunteered to be a steward at Ridge Hill. So I don't know if there's anybody else that might be interested in.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I mean, how many do we need to appoint?
I don't know. That's I don't know if the official outline of the
Tim has some
Yeah.
background on
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so I've been jumping into the Trails Master Plan, and sort of it has a charge at the beginning on sort of the order to get back on track, which the first charge is to identify a trails coordinator. And now that one's been identified, to get the Trails Advisory Group back together. So it looks like there's going to be a required 5 members, at least 1 from the select board, 1 from conservation, 1 from DPW, 1 from school committee, and 1 from the rec Parks and Rec Commission. And so that's 5 as the core that is chartered. But the way I was envisioning it, especially a commission of 7 is good. It reduces quorum. That the Conservation Commission does have 1 required member to be on it, but also 2 at-large members, where they could be conservation commissioners or other members appointed by other persons of other boards appointed by the Conservation Commission to fill the 2 at-large spots. So there could be up to 3 conservation commissioners on it, but there needs to be a minimum of 1.
Hey, can I ask a quick question? Are we still thinking that this committee would not be an official quote unquote committee, that would have to have open meetings and that kind of stuff?
That's what I'm going to be looking into. That even though, if it is that, and this is more or less a subcommittee, which in that case, if there's 3 conservation commissioners, that wouldn't constitute a conservation commission quorum. 4 would, and that would be a unfortunate thing that we wouldn't be able to do, because then every Trails Advisory Group meeting would also have to be posted as a conservation commission meeting. But I am going to chase down to see if these would be public meetings, even if they're not required to be. I do envision public meetings by this group happening at least twice a year, because this is something I really feel that the public interest will be there. But the first sort of charge of the master plan, once you have a trails coordinator and the trails advisory group, is to establish improved access and visibility, which in this case, the first task would be to update and improve the maps, and then have that reflected in real life on the trails and kiosks. So Dave's done a great job actually getting the CPC money for that project. So the money is there. We just need the group together to talk over and think over how the maps are, look, feel, act, and get the signs in the ground to reflect it. And then onward and upward with volunteer programs and larger things about thinking about inter-property connectivity across the whole town of Needham eventually, as to have a walkable trails. And the idea of looking at those trail signs is that the trail signs used at Ridge Hill and the kiosk layout will be the same at the town forest, at Rosemary Lake. Every Needham open space will have a very clear, this is Needham open space, so that school board land, select board land, conservation commission land aren't drastically different, to sort of have one common thread.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
and this is just for fun. Just want to share this real quick. This was an idea I just had fun with, so don't be too harsh.
I like it. That's a nice one.
I threw that together as just a little mock-up. I'm sure the town has comments on that, but it would be nice to have some sort of uniform Needham Trails palette that goes across Ridge Hill, Town Forest, and even the small places. So that if you see the signs you're familiar with, you know it's publicly accessible walking trails.
Great.
I like it.
So that's what the group's doing. So we're recruiting.
I'm also interested, but I think that would put us at 4 people. So I guess, is that correct? Then we can't do more.
Yeah, so
I'll
we
find
would,
out.
If we don't talk about other conservation stuff, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'll reach out to the town manager's office and get us an answer. Tim, you have enough to do. So I'll take this part over and find out, maybe there's different levels of members or something.
Yeah, there could be people coming to meetings,
Well, and here's another thing. I mean, we could rotate being trail stewards and being on the committee. I mean, we could maybe there's some creative way to. I mean, the thing is, I think trails need a lot of volunteers, right? You need a lot of and if we can generate enthusiasm for people to take care of this, then that's got to be a good thing. We shouldn't we should find a way to if we're all interested in this, we should find a way that we can all contribute. So all I'm saying.
yeah, well,
I think
anybody
Clary's-
can be a trail steward or monitor. And I have some ideas that I'll get into your hands eventually for being my trial audience before we try to go town-wide with soliciting volunteers. But
Yeah, I think
the
Clary
first
also
challenge.
expressed interest. She
Right.
might also be interested in that.
I
So
have a-
maybe the commission could be a subcommittee of this committee or something.
If that's the case, then it can be, if it's that big and you guys are comfortable with it, it could even be an agenda item on our meetings to discuss ideas and what to go forward to the rest of the trails group.
Well, I wonder if we're in a different subcommittee, if we're not discussing projects that are before the Conservation Commission and we're only discussing trails, that should be okay, right? We don't need
Yeah,
a.
I'll find out.
Yeah, we can't discuss all.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We won't
Yeah.
necessarily need a meeting notification if we're not discussing anything other than trails.
Mhm.
Yep.
Can
All
I,
right.
can I make a
Okay.
couple comments on the presentation, or you don't want any comments on the
No, no,
presentation?
go ahead.
Oh, okay. I
Want me to
think,
put it back up?
I really like the idea of that QR code. I know that I go to Wampatuck a lot and they kind of have something similar where you can just kind of scan something and you have the map with you and it tells you where you are. So I know you said you can scan it from the website, but I think it'll be good if you have it at the kiosk so that people can just scan it and then they have the map. Because sometimes what I do is I take a picture of the map and just try to figure out where I am based on this picture that I took from the beginning, but it's, you know, if you could scan that map and it follows you around.
Yeah, maybe I didn't explain that correctly. At least right now.
That would be on intersection posts, is that
Yeah, this would
correct?
be on every.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I thought that was just on the website. I was like, oh, it'd be great if
No.
it's actually out there.
Yeah, but
Um,
it'll bring you to the website so that you don't have to download an app or anything.
mhm.
We'll have a web app sort of through the town GIS system.
Right.
Okay, no, that's great. But I think that's what I was looking for, but I thought I had a different idea that when you explained it. My other thing is I like the idea of having like those kiosks without a plexiglass. Part of me wonders like, would there be any vandalism? And would it be more expensive to just to have to upgrade everything rather than just change a plexiglass?
Well, my experience with
The
the.
I was about to say the signs that you spec do have the anti-graffiti coating on it.
Oh, okay. Like even scratching, like I've seen people just like scratch stuff
Mm.
in or like put stickers on and maybe I
My-
go to maybe I go to some rough places or something.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I've seen some that I'm like, oh, that's too bad. That's, you know, that looked like somebody worked really hard on it and now it's all.
My experience with the trustees and like we've been working at 15 different locations.
Mhm.
They use this system and this type of sign. And they have very little vandalism.
Okay, no, that's
I
great.
mean, I think the bigger problem is you don't want to use glass. And like
Yeah.
plexiglass gets fogged up and, you know, you go look
Mm-hmm.
at these older kiosks and they're, you know,
Falling apart.
yeah, they're not really readable. So I think this is an improvement, but yeah, if somebody wants to vandalize it, hey, you know, the other advantage of this type of sign is they're very inexpensive. So
Oh, they are. Okay.
if you have to replace them, you're not breaking a bank.
Mhm.
You
No,
know,
that's fine. That's a great explanation of why we shouldn't have it. My other comment is I really like the idea of connecting the trails and making loops. I know that sometimes when I randomly stop by places and start walking and I do look for like, oh, I have maybe 30 minutes. Let me see what loop I can do. And if
Big
you're
loop, little loop, small,
yeah. So if
middle
you have
loop.
stuff like that, it's a great way to like for somebody who's just like passing by and is like, oh, I've got some time to myself. Where can I go for a loop? And having trails kind of like that, showing you, you know, what's the best walking path from this parking area or something. So just I think you kind of have that, but I can't tell if the second map, if this is your updated trail color system or not, but
the second map.
yeah, the second map that's got like purple and green and
Yeah, that's like the current
the
thought.
current, and
Yeah,
so
right now, but you know,
Yeah,
Randy.
currently illustrative purposes to be
Mhm.
determined, but this gets the, you know, because what is it, that green loop you said was previously 3 different colors?
Yeah,
yeah, if you can make like a continuous loop somewhere or something like that makes it, yeah, simple, like what you were trying to do, which is simplifying it and not have so many trails, but kind of have like a system. Again,
Yeah,
I think that would be.
one of the issues with both the town forest and Ridge Hill is there is in each site there's a major trail that's sort of like the backbone
Mhm.
of the system. And at Ridge Hill, it's the Esker Trail, which is appropriately named because it goes on top of the Esker. And so just using the green for an example, in the parking areas right here, you know, if we made this part of the Esker Trail green, I don't know, that would sort of take away from the Esker Trail. So, I mean, that's something to think about. And then if you go to the town forest, you have a road called Horsford Road, which goes right through from one end to the other.
Mhm.
And so to start renaming that, I think might be a little confusing, but you know,
Yeah, no, you don't have to make, I mean, I don't think you need to make it that complicated by changing names and stuff, but I'm just saying as a person who likes to make a quick loop, it's fun to just be like, okay, I'll make this loop. And
Yep.
encourages people to do it, but otherwise, and the other thing is, I like the idea of the having everything standardized and potentially having it in, Needham colors. The only thing is, I don't know how color blindness, I'm not colorblind, but I know people are sometimes, and I think, is it red and green that they have difficulty reading? So maybe that's
Yeah,
just
red
something
and
to think
green
about.
are the ones to avoid.
Yeah, so just
Yeah,
something
my
to think
son's
about on
colorblind,
maps.
so I can run it by him and see what he sees.
Okay, yeah,
But
that's perfect, because I don't know if like this green on the green trail, if that's something that would be visible to them or what they see, or on the signs if we do. Just something to make sure everybody can, it's legible for everybody. That's it.
Hmm.
Sorry,
point.
those are my 2 cents.
yeah, thanks.
Hey Dave, on the Charles River Trail, and maybe this is something for the Trails Committee to figure out, but is that gonna need to be moved so that it doesn't go through those 2 parcels that were acquired as part of the Foster property?
Yeah, and that's to be determined. I think that
'Cause we don't actually have an easement to go through there, right?
no,
no, we don't.
those are
They,
the
they
two.
may have to be depicted differently on the map to be clear that you are leaving town property.
So
And
Yeah.
that we don't
Well, I
endorse
just don't think
we
we
don't
have-
endorse using this.
yeah, no, I have a lot of background on this, and I've talked to town council about it, and so we're leaving it as is. The new owner has been approached to discuss this. He's not ready to discuss this with the town. So my recommendation that I gave to Dave was to work on taking the trails off of those properties and looking into putting a boardwalk over the wetlands, which is essentially this whole area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
We'd have to do
So
something. right here.
that's my suggestion, instead of waiting for a new property owner to want to work with the town on it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then where it says no access to river, yeah, I mean, I think that's new, right? But I think that's important to say because but like I guess it would be nice if we could eventually have the trail run down to the river.
you know,
Mhm.
I've been down there many times and I really don't see a way to do that. But, you know, it could be scouted out more
Too bad.
because,
It would be very expensive. You'd have to put supports for a boardwalk for a long
Well,
distance.
this area.
Part of it runs through the meadow.
Yeah, this isn't a wetland, but it's
Yeah.
all grown. It would have to be, you know, a lot of vegetation removed.
Yeah.
To do that. So, I mean, it's not impossible. And then when you get down here, it gets kind of, you know, overgrown and I really don't know what you'd see, but you know, it's possible. Yeah.
Well, at the very end, you'd see the river, which would be worth the walk.
Maybe if there was some adequate drill there, but again, I've constructed a lot of trails. I don't think that would be very easy to do, but
Hmm.
you know,
Okay.
I have another comment.
Yeah.
On your maps, if you can label where the boardwalks are, that would be excellent. I choose my trails based on where there are boardwalks.
Are you familiar with Ridge Hill?
I think I actually have not been there for a while because I had a dog and there were a lot of ticks there, so I avoided it.
There's there's sticks everywhere.
Yeah. Um,
Well, the boardwalk is from 9 to 17, so it's
mhm.
from here to
But to
here.
have it on
So
the
be-
map.
Yeah,
And
if you have it
Yeah,
on the
actually,
map,
but,
because then it would be,
Yeah, because I am
And-
trying to work with Ben on trying to
Yeah.
get a legend that also works across multiple maps because it's easy to sort of make something that just works for one.
mhm.
But another thing you brought up with the color blindness is, also have some symbology on a map if something were to be printed out in black and white, or if someone were colorblind, the maps as well. The trail thickness is different at the boardwalk or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I really like what DCR has for their legends.
Where it's like the little slats of the
Yeah,
trail.
where they can show you like what's a path, and sometimes I think it would be, so I go to the town forest quite a bit, and I know there's a lot of mountain bikers there, and so it'd be good to know like what trails are for mountain bikers, what's for, you know, what's
Flat.
for walking.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what's for like
What's
people.
hiking, what's biking, what's walking.
Like I sometimes take my grandmother and she's not very steady, so I know which trails to take her on that she'll be, able to do. Versus like, yeah, when you have a little footpath. But anyway, I guess Tim, you have a lot of work to do. But
Oh, absolutely. But the first challenge is getting the team together.
mhm.
And I know Dave wants to move on at least identifying the intersections to put in the posts so that we have time to meet, talk about the map, and we already have posts in the ground. Because I think the posts in the ground and the kiosks being refurbished are things that can sort of happen without too much deliberation. What goes on the posts and what goes in the kiosks is what's going to be more of the deliberation.
Yeah, and, like, town forest is gonna be, it's got some special issues. Because there are a bunch of bike trails that nobody really authorized them. And they're all over the place. And, originally when we were scoping out this project, we never intended to mark or blaze the bike trails, but.
Well, you
just
don't
like-
need to. I was just,
But,
if you're gonna have signs that say biking, just,
well,
on the map or something.
the concept was to, wherever a bike trail crossed the hiking trail, to show on either side that this is a bike trail.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah.
you wouldn't go.
Yeah, or have some of these trails will be unlabeled on a map, but in real life, you'll have something that tells you this is an unmapped, unlabeled trail.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
one thing that, some of the volunteers, who have expressed interest, are bikers, so they may have some other ideas. But, Ridge Hill used to be really, Town Forest used to be really popular for bikers. It still is, but not as
Yeah.
much as it has been in the past.
Oh, really? I feel like
Yeah.
that's where they all go.
Yeah, no, it's still popular, but it's not like it was 30 years ago.
Mm.
Oh, and speaking of Ridge Hill and volunteers, recently a recent high school graduate who's taking a gap year before going to study ecology reached out to volunteer. So I didn't want to, I wanted to harness that energy. I wouldn't want to say, oh, the volunteer program will be ready till the spring. But what I've sent him out to do is to document the grassland bird and habitat of Ridge Hill. So he's checking out our bird boxes over the next couple weeks to sort of come back with a report of how many we have, where they are, what condition they're in, and if anything's living in them. And then hopefully also by, over this month, he'll start doing some quick surveys of the bird types that are utilizing it. And then with the information about the bird boxes and bird types to help us come up with some best practices if we're going to manage that area for grassland birds. And so really put his brain power to work on which birds to attract, how best to attract them, and then put some of those theories into practice with some, who knows, plantings or reinstallations of those bird boxes in the spring.
Well,
Can we
I'm-
also, oh, sorry.
I'll just say quickly, I'm very excited about that, Jim, because I think that having some data about the birds and and what habitat is important to them could impact where we want to put some of the trails. And yeah, I mean, fortunately, you know, what's been saving the birds in Ridge Hill, that habitat is the ticks. Because it does keep the people out of the grass. But if we put a trail through there, they and they mow these very, I mean, the trail across part of Ridge Hill has gotten wider and wider. It shrank a little bit recently. I think Dave and Deb.
That's being addressed.
Yeah. Well, the last iteration shrank it from about 30 feet to 20 feet wide. So that's a step in the right direction. Okay, anyway,
Yeah.
Paulina, what were you going to say?
Okay.
Just go ahead. Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay. I was gonna say that he can also, if you're trying to figure out what else to give him to do, we can consider maybe bat boxes, and he can look at different habitats and where bats would be found. They're, he can do some research on how bats like to fly.
And he's into birds.
Oh, he doesn't.
So he
bats are.
specifically requested birds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wants a ornithology, ecology double major. He's hoping to go to school a year from this fall.
Okay. I figured. I mean, well, he's
Tim, so I'm a big birder myself. So if he wants to reach out to me, or I'm happy to help.
Great, thank you.
He can still look at bats. I mean, he might not see any bats. I'm just saying, like, he can look at habitats and what would be a good area for bat box or something.
Yeah, we might expand this beyond the meadow, depending
Yeah,
on how it goes.
I think, as you walk into the Esker Trail from the parking lot, it's kind of dark and there's some big old white pine trees there. I think that would be a great area for some bat boxes.
Yeah, I think they like, you want to look for something with like a southern light, and then it would also be like near a water source, but they do like those tunnels to like fly through like between. So just something for him to if he wants to do some research and figure it out.
We always have scouts looking for projects and stuff too. So
How about the
Yeah, but they're the doers. Like, this is getting the research on, it's not about building us a new tree swallow or bluebird box. It's trying to hopefully figure out where the best spot for either a tree swallow and or bluebird box might be, why, and how other places can replicate, how to create the success in other parts of that grassland if there's any dull areas.
So does the Conservation Commission, do we have trail cameras? I don't know
So
if it-
yes, we have 4 trail cameras, of which I have not had time to set up.
Because
over
that
the
would be
past
fun
year.
to set up and
Yep.
see what's out there.
Hey,
Yeah, we
I bet
have,
you didn't know. I bet you didn't know that we have a resident beaver. Yeah.
No, I didn't. See, like, these are the things you should put on your signs.
Oh, here you go. There you go. There he is.
I
Oh,
love
is this your-
beavers.
your Charles River one.
Wow.
Oh, look at him go.
No,
Yeah,
he lives down by the Charles River, on the Charles River Trail.
mhm.
Oh, okay. He's south of Charles River
Kinda
Road there.
messy.
Yeah, the guy whose property abuts some of this area, Bill Kettle, took
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, this is down at the Foster property.
Nice.
No, actually, this part is on the Needham Ridge Hill property.
Is that right?
Yeah.
This is
Which-
that
I'll show you,
waterway
hang on.
that runs
Hang on a
north-south.
second, I'll show you on the,
Oh, I see some boardwalk there.
if you look closely, right around here, there's like a little pond. And
Uh,
the
yep.
Yeah,
beavers-
next to the Foster property.
Yeah. Right
That's what
about
I
the-
said.
And they dammed it up. And so it's actually flooding part of this bridge right here. And so, that's one area where, we might need to put a bog walker or something. But anyway, it's right about here. All right, so,
Okay,
To be continued. So I'll look into the commission, our committee makeup and what our possibilities are and report back.
Oh, and one more thing, sorry. You know what would be helpful is to put maybe miles on the trail, just so people would know, like, 'cause sometimes maps can be deceiving. It might look like it's really longer than it is or shorter than it is. So when you have like a trail, just to put like, 1.2 miles or something like that.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
that makes sense.
just
Yeah,
something.
no, these are the good discussions we're looking to have.
All right,
anything else?
not that I know of. We'll get the signature sheets out for those that have not signed yet.
Yeah, I'll have the certificate of compliance for 28 Robin Wood. I keep wanting to say Robin Hood.
And
Robin Wood out tomorrow morning. So I'll still email everybody saying that it's ready to sign, but I'll let you know right now if you show up first thing, it'll be there for you
All right,
Tomorrow
great.
morning? Is that what you said?
tomorrow morning. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
All right, if nothing else, somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I move we
Motion.
adjourn.
Second.
Second? All approved? Raise your hand. Okay, thanks.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
see ya in a
Good
couple
night,
weeks.
everyone.
Night.